What's up, Internet? Brandon here. We are back with episode 3 of Free2Play Weekly. This week we had 22 new games released free to play on Steam. There was also a game that I missed last week somehow. I'm working on getting a little more organized, but there's one game from last week that just didn't end up making the video, so I'll include it in this one. And then there's 2 visual novels that I'll just call out at the end as being released. So we'll dive right in. Drewdler launched last week, and it is a game where you will launch a meteor into the air and then try to draw a path to help the meteor collect the objects and get to the exit. So there's a little bit of timing and navigation of how hard do you launch your meteor and make sure that you have enough time to get your mouse to where you need to start drawing a line. You know, there were times where I wanted to just rocket the meteor across the map, but I couldn't get my mouse back over there in time to draw a vertical line to block it from just launching into oblivion. So there's a little bit of like put some arc on it so I have time to move. And then there were a couple times where I wasn't paying attention and like had to draw more than one line, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna fall. And so it's a decently large game. It looked like there was a decent amount of levels. I played through like the first 10. And so yeah, you can just launch meteors, draw lines to help them get to the exit. It's a nice little game, and it's free, so there's plenty of content to be had. This week's recommended game is SHADOWBOX Mausoleum of Natural History. This game is a cyber museum where there are people who have taken on a project of scanning and importing fossils as digital assets in this museum and setting up exhibit halls and spaces where you can go and read about and interact with these fossils. And then there's also an area that is like a through the ages of everything that's been uploaded and imported into the museum to date. And so you can see where each fossil falls in kind of the timeline of the history of the Earth. The hallway is super cool. Some of the exhibits are pretty well done, and just being able to quote unquote pick up a fossil isn't something you can do at your traditional museum. So being able to kind of pick them up and move them around and look at them at a more magnified way was something I found to be super awesome. I'm really excited about this project. It's in early access. It's intended to be free forever, though. They have a Patreon for people who want to support them, and they're coming out with new exhibits as they can. It said that it'd be in early access for like the next 5 years. So it's something that I'm going to leave installed, and whenever there's an update, I'm going to pop in and see what they've got cooking. Conscience is a game where you are investigating a death to see if there's any suspects or any cause of reason that the death could have occurred. Someone's asked you to investigate it to make sure that there was no foul play, and so you take on this job, and you have to find your way into their house and look for clues. One thing I really like about Conscience is that they use almost a Mad Lib style way of solving the crime, and so when you find clues, you unlock words that you can then use in your Mad Lib to kind of articulate what happened. And once you have all the clues, then you have all the words needed to correctly identify what happened in this scenario. It's a relatively short game. It took me like 15 minutes. I played through it twice, the second time just so I could get some footage, because I didn't think about the fact that if I only use the Mad Lib to show what the actual answer is, then it makes it too easy for you guys. So I went back in so that I could do some Mad Libbing with different words, so you can see kind of how that mechanic plays out. But it was a fun little experience, and I hope that they take this and kind of run with it and make some more complex crime scenes, and continue that kind of experience of finding words to build out the solution. I think it was a really cool mechanic. Outside is a game that I really enjoyed how clever the writing was and how much thought was put into the interactions. There were a few times where I would, be annoying to the other characters, and they reacted in the way that, I would expect someone who is being annoyed, which I thought was pretty funny. There's also a decent amount of exploration and finding the thing you need to do the next thing. And you unlock costumes, which then allow you to unlock further interactions because you have the costumes to wear, to accomplish that. So like one of the things is there's someone who you meet early on that says, she really wants to date a man in a suit. So it's like, okay, well, I can't really come back and talk to you until I get a suit. And so then go off in search of a suit and try to figure out what you can do to get that costume to be able to further that interaction, right? And so you're trying to unlock new interactions as you play through it. And like I said, the writing's good. I really like the way that they set up a lot of the interactions and the goals that you have to accomplish. I don't know how long the game is. I've played it for probably 30 minutes. It's fun. It's free. I definitely recommend checking this one out. Valiant World's Adventure of Falken is an ARPG, an action RPG, where you're able to mine and chop down trees. You do need to unequip your weapon. It says so on their store page, but I didn't see that the first time I played, and so I was trying to mine and it just kept glitching and I didn't know why, but it's because I have my weapon equipped. So if you're going to mine or chop trees, make sure you unequip your weapon. No volume control is a real killer for me. I've mentioned it in previous videos. I like to turn all of games volumes down to like 1% because just my headphones are so loud. I don't know why. And then the Razer headphones I have sometimes will just override my sound settings on my computer. So like I'll set my sound on the computer to like 10, but it'll still play the game at full volume. I don't know why. There's probably something somewhere that does that. Anyway. The loot scaling in this game was a little ridiculous. You get things for level 1 and then you get things for level 30. And I played for, half hour to an hour and I think I was level like 10. And so it's like I was collecting things that were for level 95 when I was level 7. And it's like, okay, but I can't use that anytime soon. My health kept scaling, which was super nice because, it meant that I wasn't really taking that much damage. But then something happened where my health overflowed the integer for all you programmers out there. And then I just died on repeat because my health was negative. So every time I respawned, I died. I couldn't get to the menu because I had to respawn to get to the menu. And I ended up having to control alt delete out of it. So that's, it's a bug, but that's something that can be fixed. So I think the main things that I would address with this game is just the scaling of items. I would make it so that you can use them a little earlier than level 30 for the level 2 stuff. Bean Battle Brawl is a shooter that is in beta. It was a little glitchy trying to move around, especially in tight spaces like where there was a forest. No one was playing when I was trying to find someone to play with. And so you'll need friends to play with. It's in beta, so things are still being improved, so glitching while trying to run through the jungle will probably be addressed. But yeah, I spun up a server to see if anyone would join. I hung out in there for like 15 minutes and then called it a day. I'm going to have to get one of my friends to just team up with me on a few of these games going forward, to where if I can't find a server with people or if I can't find people to play with, I can recruit some of my friends to try out these games with me for games that don't have, the ability to join, or if there's nobody online. The shooting aspect, seemed relatively fine. It seemed a little inaccurate. Like it doesn't always fire exactly where you're aiming, which I think is fine as long as it's the same for everyone. But yeah, I would have to play on it with people in a server to know exactly, how the gameplay goes. TDP4 Team Battle is a side-scrolling arena shooter that is in early access. Guns require cash, which can be purchased, but also require skill points to unlock, which you get from leveling. So There is a little bit of pay to win on acquiring guns, but you need to be the level anyway, so you're not getting them like right away just because you buy them. There wasn't a ton of people online, which again, for most of these games, remember it's the first week. So just because there's not a lot of people online when I play it doesn't mean there won't be when you try it out if it's something you're interested in. Gameplay was pretty smooth for the most part. I had a little hard time jumping on the capture the flag map that I was on. There were a couple spots where I was like, I just can't make this jump. No, maybe I wasn't supposed to, or maybe I need to be a higher level so I can jump higher. I don't know. But there was a couple spots that I had a little trouble with. It was also a 2v1, which, I was just happy to have a server with people, but I was just getting destroyed because it was 2v1. So I don't think I captured the flag ever. I think I got capped on like 20 times. But the combat was smooth. There's the ability to unlock new weapons, which is fun as you advance, which makes you feel more accomplished over time as you have better damage output or better fire rate or whatever it is that you're going for. So yeah, this is a fun game. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll come back to it or not. I have it still installed right now, so it's something I might come back to and try to level up a little further to see how some of the other guns work. Virion is a school project that was uploaded that's a nice little top-down shooter where you pick a mod and then complete a run, and so you can kind of choose an advantage and then run around and try to get as far as you can. I think I beat it, and then when you successfully make it to the end, you pick a new mod and it kind of takes you back to the beginning. So it's a nice little game, for free that you can kind of run through. The different mods give it a little bit of replayability where you can see, which things are the most effective or challenge yourself with things that maybe are a little harder. I would say for me, the sniping, long distance shots mods were how I got the farthest. Made it a little easier to take things out before they got to me. And stay out of the range of things that are shooting at me. So yeah, it's a nice little shooter. Chef Strikes Back is a game that I used a controller for. It has voice acting through the tutorial, which I thought was good. I thought the voice acting was well done. And then the tutorial does kind of leave you hanging, and I was kind of standing there for a bit like, I don't know what you want me to do. So I'll just kind of let you guys know. To make a pizza, you have to pick up each of the 3 ingredients using B or circle, depending on if you're using Xbox or PlayStation, and then throw them using L2 and using your right joystick to aim. And then the second part of the tutorial is the same thing, except for you, instead of throwing things at the pizza oven, you throw them at the boiling pot. And then, as the tutorial progresses, they'll teach you how to defend yourself from angry customers who, catch on fire and attack you in the kitchen. And then it kicks you into a normal game mode. And I'll be honest, I like this game concept a lot. I'm a big Cook Serve Delicious fan. I like Overcooked. So, it's definitely a style of game I can get behind. My joystick, there were 2 problems I was having. One was I would let go of the joystick before I would let go of L2, and so I would constantly throw things just to the bottom of the screen instead of where I was aiming right before I let go. And then the other one was I was always off by like a couple of degrees whenever I was throwing things. So I would just miss like the plate I was throwing at or the pizza oven. And so I was having a really hard time. I didn't beat the tutorial level, but I did really enjoy it. It's a fun concept, and it's a game that once you master it, I think it would be, while chaotic, a lot of fun. Hypertag is another example of a game where I need to start having somebody play games with me. It's a tag game where you play tag with an opponent and chase each other through a map, trying to tag each other and then run away so that you don't get tagged back. The motion in the game was good. I was able to move around a level and get comfortable with the motion, and the game also comes with a level editor, and this consumed an hour of my life. It was very reminiscent of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I want to say 3, where you can build your own arena for the game and have, things built out so that people can dodge through things or jump over things. And I was like, I wonder if I can make like a little maze area and put a roof on it so people can't jump over the walls. And so I spent, an hour building this map. It doesn't always place things exactly flush, so sometimes you have to place things and then move them to get them flush. And for some reason the bushes aren't rendering. I don't really know why. But once the bushes are rendered, I think that the map I made ended up being pretty cool. So if this is a game that you check out, make sure you do try the Free2Play Weekly Tag Arena on the workshop, and let me know what you think. I worked really hard on it, so hopefully you enjoy it. Only the Lost Shall See is a first-person platformer game. It was a relatively difficult game to play through, just trying to get comfortable with the jump distance. When you're moving forward, you jump a lot further than when you're jumping from a standing position, and it was more distance than I was expecting from like other games I've played where you run and then jump. And so there was a little bit of getting used to that large of a jump and figuring out when to jump to reach a platform. As you're walking around, you're also collecting little discs that are on the ground, or coins, don't remember which. And those go, there's 100 of them to find throughout the map. And so one of the things you want to make sure you're doing is looking around. You aren't just jumping through the map, you're also looking around while you do it, because sometimes some are on the ground, like behind a jump spot. So if you just jump over everything, you're gonna miss those coins or discs while you're jumping through it. But it's a nice little platform game if you are the type of person who is relaxed from Counter-Strike climb maps or Quake strafing or those types of things. This is a game that you might find relaxing to just sit down and play through. Ourkade is an arcade style game with multiple mini games that you can play. Each mini game has challenges where people can compete to see who can get the most points, and if you get the most points, then you win credits that you can then use to unlock cosmetics. And then there's also a credit system where you need coins to play games as though you're at an arcade with tokens. And so you get so many tokens so often, and so you can't just like spam games to try to unlock or to try to win a leaderboard or win a challenge unless you pay for extra tokens to continue playing. So with the 5 tokens I got to start, I played each game once and then played Pong twice because I was sad that I did so poorly. The Pong style is kind of cool. You have to bounce between shields as the ball/onion is what they use in the game, and so you're kind of bouncing back and forth. There's a runner game where you have to dodge things that are coming at you. There's a was the tapper, I think is what it was called, but the beer tap style game where you have to fill up root beer, send them down the tables. And then the 4th game is kind of a Space Invader style, asteroid style game where you have to shoot at things, but it's a Western instead of a space theme. It's a Western and you're hiding behind sandbags. You can shoot your own sandbags, so make sure that you duck out from behind them before shooting, or you destroy your own cover. But yeah, I mean, all the games were kind of fresh take. They all played smoothly. I probably liked the runner the most, and it was definitely the one I was best at. I did get first in a challenge on that one, I believe. So I got like 10,000 credits or something for winning that 6-hour challenge or 8-hour challenge or whatever it was, which I then used to unlock a new cosmetic night. So it's a nice little time waster arcade game where you can get some cosmetics and stuff and compete in some leaderboards. And then if it's something you really enjoy, you can buy extra credits. But if not, you can go in and play, 5 games a day. So it's not too bad. CatPunk is an early access puzzle platformer where you use rocket boosters to get to high places in search of cat food. There were a couple times in this game where I didn't know where to go next, but a lot of times you can walk through doorways that look like walls, and so just if it looks like there's an edge of a map, walk into it and see if you can get past it. This game was pretty difficult. I actually don't think I ever fully beat the first level. I think I found all of the cat food but one. But the last portion of that level, you have to try to basically climb your way out of a sewer, and the amount of rocket boosts it took me versus the amount of times I missed or failed was pretty large. So I definitely recommend collecting rocket boosters when you can. They have spawners and there's no limit, so you can stand at the spawner and collect a few if you need them. And so make sure you're kind of collecting those so you're able to fully complete the level. And if you find the 5th cat food, let me know where it was. 2C, Ayry seems to be playtesting a 2D runner shooter from CC. Is a colorful, difficult bullet hell. This game has a pretty good tutorial where they teach you how to navigate the levels. It's very vibrant. As you destroy things, they explode into bursts of color, and you can shoot up or down into things to push your character up or down. And so there's a lot of skill navigation of shooting the ground or shooting down at targets while jumping to launch your character into the air to clear like a mountain so that you're not just eating a wall of bullets. And then, there's times where you have to shoot up to push yourself down. Again, wall of bullets to dodge. There was the first few levels I was able to get through, and then I hit one that I tried what felt like 40 times, and I just kept hitting the very last jump. I would hit a wall of bullets. The last 2 levels that I did beat, I barely beat them. I was taking damage while crossing the finish line and almost dead. So it's definitely difficult, but it is very vibrant. I like their menu system where you walk around and shoot settings to change them. I think that's pretty fun. And overall, it's a good free game to check out if bullet hells are the types of games that you enjoy and or are good at. Rogue Rubber is a top-down tub shooter. You play a rubber duck who is in combat in the tub to assert dominance over the other tub toys, and you have bubbles that you shoot to defeat your opponents. You can shoot 3 bubbles, and then you run out and you have to collect. You have to go collect the bubbles that you miss with to be able to fire them again. And there's 12 levels. I made it through 5, 6, something like that. Every time you die, you do start over at level 1, which can be a little frustrating, but with only 12 levels in total, it's probably for the best to keep the game from being too short. It makes you kind of start over when you fail so you can learn from your failure. The tub does drain on some maps, and so I've had times where I lost because the bathtub emptied out and I hadn't defeated everyone yet, and so there is a little bit of a time limit / need to go faster. Also on maps that have suds, as the water gets lower, the suds kind of approach the wall, and so something that you might have been able to go around at the start of the round to get to a different section of the tub, as you lose water, that pathway disappears, and so there's a little bit of tactful navigation of a map across the time frame of it emptying that comes to play. Again, decently small game, 12 levels, but a pretty good shooter. If this is the type of thing you're into, it's definitely worth giving a shot. Bonk is described as a music idler. It is a game that you can have up in your second screen, and it'll slowly add music notes that you can unlock over time. And it has a pleasant ambiance. There was definitely a tone I preferred when I was going through it. I tried a few different tones, and there was one that was definitely more my speed in terms of what I enjoyed. It was pretty relaxing. When you do a prestige on the right menu, it resets you, so you'll go back to just one note, but you get a perk, and so I think the perk that I selected was auto purchase notes, and so after you have that perk going forward, you don't have to go back to the screen to buy a note each time. So once you get 100, I think it's 100 credits, you can do prestige. And so I recommend, at least for the first one, hitting 100 and doing the auto purchase notes, and then that way you can kind of let it run and it adds notes. And it's fun how the notes kind of sync up, and over time the melody changes just due to the pacing of the notes and how they flow through. So it was a nice little idler, and it's pretty relaxing, so it's definitely worth checking out if music is your thing. Tower of Penguinaria is an early access game where you are a penguin and you run through a tower to get credits or money, and then when you finish that run, either by teleporting out or teleporting out usually. If you die, then you don't have your money. By teleporting out, then you can use that money to buy upgrades. There's a couple of different inventory slots that you can buy upgrades for. There's a helm, an armor, and a weapon, I believe. And you can use those upgrades to then run through the map again. The way the combat works is if your power is strong enough to one-shot something, it will just disappear when you run over it. And if you are not strong enough to one-shot something, then when you run over it, it'll open a turn-based combat screen where you can try either attacking or using magic to try to defeat it, and then it attacks you back if you don't defeat it with that attack. It was pretty fun. You can get pretty strong. I think I made it to like level 8 or 9. Once I hit level 5, I believe, it lets you choose to spawn in at level 5, so you can skip the first 4. There's a day counter in the top right, and when you get to day 4, there is an event that happens that I won't spoil here. So check it out. Run around as a penguin, defeat some rats, and see how far you can get by day 4. Are You Happy is a super short loop with horror elements and dark imagery and very jarring sounds. The game itself is like maybe 3 minutes. Like I said, it's a loop, so you can go through it and it'll just kind of take you back to the beginning and you can do it again. The imagery is a little dark, so if that's not something you're into, I don't recommend this game. But if you're fine with the macabre and very jarring, loud sounds out of nowhere, then this game might be something you want to experience. Champi is a fun tower defense game that is in early access, where you can upgrade your turrets after each round, and as you level up, you unlock the ability to place more turrets or to earn turrets that you can place. So you start off with a certain number available and a certain inventory, and then as you play the game, you unlock the ability to play new ones and new ones to play. So like if you start with a couple rifles, and then when you level up the first time, you unlock the ability to play another turret, and then the next time you level up, you can play you can get a turret into your inventory. So you can pick like a sniper or ballista for like the starter ones. After you finish a game, when your door gets knocked down and your barricades are broken, you get points that you can then use in the shop to unlock either more damage or faster fire rate, or if you have enough credits, you can unlock new turrets. And so that was one of the things I did, was unlock a new turret, and I got like a cryo thing that emits like this cold pulse. And so it's a pretty addicting game. I played for a while. I usually try to keep the gameplay for these games to like 30 to 40 minutes just because I have so many to do in a week and I only have so much time. And I played it for over an hour because I just really enjoyed the mechanics behind it. So it's a fun game. It's enjoyable. It's, you feel like you're advancing as you unlock new things, and the next playthrough you can get further, and that kind of is the type of thing that drives these games forward, is being able to have that noticeable progress. So I do recommend this for people who love tower defense games. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the art's kind of goofy, but entertaining. It does feel kind of like a mobile game that is on PC, but it's still fun to play, so I recommend it. So if you like tower defense games, check out Champi. Wood and Flesh, a Candleforth short story, is a short point-and-click puzzler. I liked the art and puzzle designs of this game. I think this is a prequel where it's just getting something out there that they're going to build upon for a game in the future. And if so, I'm really excited for the future game. I'm not sure if the full game that's developed off of this will be free to play or not, but I thought the puzzle design for the two puzzles that are included in this playthrough were nice. I like the art style, that kind of drawn art game, kind of Cuphead-esque, is nice, and like I said, I liked the puzzles that were present in the game, so I'm looking forward to see what they come up with. I went to the developers page and I didn't see any of the games, so this is like the prequel to their first game, and so with it being their kind of first title out on Steam, I think that there's a lot of potential here, and I look forward to seeing what comes next. Puck is a hockey simulator, and you use your mouse to control your hockey stick, and then WSAD to control your skating. You can left click to wind up to hit with your stick. You left click and then pull back on your mouse and then push forward to swing at the puck. And then if you right click, it'll let you kind of turn your vision so you can look behind you or to the side while you're skating around. The controls for this are very difficult to learn and get used to. It's very often that I would be moving the mouse to try to change what I was looking at, and instead I'm just swinging my stick around like a madman. It was definitely hard to hit the puck, but it's fun because it's hard for everyone. When I joined a multiplayer game, I mean, there's definitely a high skill ceiling for this game of getting that play down of, where do you put the puck on your stick and how do you move your stick to keep the puck in front of you. The game I was in went into overtime, and the overtime goal was the thing of beauty. And those are the types of things where when you're playing, a very difficult game and you see someone accomplish something, it's just like, wow, man, what a great shot. And so I thought that was a cool moment. And so it's definitely a game that will take a long time to get used to. I am a hockey fan, so this is probably something I'll try out again, and maybe try to drag some of my hockey buddies in to, get a full lobby and see if any of us is ever able to score a goal, because I didn't do great, so it'll definitely take, some work to get used to. But it is a lot of fun, and if you like sports games and sim games, it's definitely worth trying out. Sur 5 is a deck builder game in a post-apocalyptic setting where you play cards and build combos using the card types. If you've played a deck builder, it probably is a gameplay loop that's familiar to you. Certain cards generate resource to buy new cards. Those go into your discard pile, and then you shuffle your deck when you run out of cards to draw, and that's how those cards make it into your hand. These cards are then used to build combos, to deal damage to your opponent, or to heal you, or a number of other things. One of the things that was in this game that I found to be fun is there is a card type that when you buy it, it goes in your opponent's deck, and it is something that takes up space in their hand. Something that's a little bit different from other deck builders that I've played is your hand doesn't get discarded at the end of the turn. And so if you don't want to play a card that your opponent put in your deck, you don't have to, but it's going to take up that hand slot, and next turn you'll draw one less card. So you want to come up with ways to answer those types of cards, either via discarding or destroying. Or there were times actually for me where the card that my opponent put in my hand was actually needed to combo one of my other cards, and so sometimes you just play them and deal with, the negative consequence of what that play means. The tutorial was good at explaining the rules and how the game works, and I've started the story mode. The deck options for when you play are based on what heroes you choose, and so the story mode, it locks one hero, so you have to include them, and then you pick 4 additional. And of those 4 that you pick, they have a set of cards that are related. And so you can kind of pick ones that have cards that go together, especially over time as you unlock new options. I'm sure there's better synergy. All of the ones that I used felt a little disparate. There was some overlap, but for the most part, it was like anything you can find from one person works well together, and anything from someone else doesn't, right? So you have your person who generates defense, your person who discards cards, your person who destroys cards, and so those things don't necessarily align. And so over time, as you unlock new people, you probably have a lot better synergy between the heroes you select. But the game was fun. I'll probably play through it a little further, complete more of the story mode, and see what some of the unlocked agents do. But again, I love this style of game. I play a lot of deck builders. So yeah, it's a game that I enjoyed, and if you like deck builders, it's a game that I think you would enjoy as well. 1.96.9 All Update is a game where you are given a person to find in a 2D landscape, and you can click through buildings and click around the map to find them. So it's kind of a Where's Waldo-esque game. They give you a fancy picture and then a avatar picture, so you know exactly what you're looking for, and then you go and find them. And I think there's 10 to find in all or something like that. I found like the first 5. So you can go through and look around the map and find the person you're looking for. It's a little search game. Overall, none were too difficult to find. There were 2 visual novels this week. The first one is A Summer in Our Hearts, which is described as a slice of life visual novel about 3 very different young adults from very different backgrounds trying to put their best foot forward and find their own ways in life. Will a short summer away in a foreign town in the middle of nowhere enough to push your way towards happiness? I don't know. Maybe. And then the other one is Psy Academy Orientation, and it is described in a much shorter manner of finding love in a psychic high school. So if you're trying to find love in a psychic high school, maybe Psy Academy is for you. So there you have it. That is the week in review for episode 3 of Free2Play Weekly. Some really good options this week. I recommend checking out SHADOWBOX, like I said, and I hope that you have a fantastic new year. Thank you.